The Building Brands Marketing Podcast is dedicated to exploring the journeys of industry leaders who have successfully built a brand. Join me, Robert Breuer, president of Building Brands Marketing, and an entrepreneur who's successfully scaled multiple brands as we dive deep into the strategies, challenges, and insights that have shaped the success of industry leaders and provide you with the resources you need to do the same. Building Brands Marketing is a full-service marketing agency specializing in crafting customized marketing strategies for service-based businesses with a creative powerhouse to drive real results. Welcome to the Building Brands Podcast. All right. Welcome, Anthony Robles, owner and attorney at law with Robles Family Law. I'm excited to have you on the Building Brands Podcast today, continuing the Legal Leaders series. Welcome, Anthony. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Excited today. I know in talking with you and in our preparation, I really got to dive into some of your brand that you've developed there in West Texas as the West Texas Men's Attorney. So let's kick it off just talking about the power of niche branding here. You've positioned yourself as the West Texas Men's Attorney, representing men in family law matters throughout the Permian Basin.
Yeah.
So tell me, what led you to focus on this specific audience and how has it shaped your brand's success, Anthony?
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the second part of your question first, shaping the brand success. It's been really key. We did a commercial in a bar about, 12, 13 years ago. And then at the very end, I say, we represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters. And what I did not expect is that I would get people coming up to me at grocery stores, just out in the general public, and quoting that directly back to me. So I think that that right there shows the power of focusing on one group, and how when you're hyper-focused, not only are they going to remember you, they're going to remember what you're saying too. But then as far as getting to there, really, when I came out of law school in 2007, I was in Odessa, and I was out on my own, just kind of doing a little bit of everything. And I realized, well, I'm not really great at any of it. I was doing it well, but I wasn't doing it as well as I wished I would. So, I knew I needed to focus, but I had no idea how to go about what to choose to focus on. And it's funny, a friend of mine and him and I, we've rented space in the same building since about 2009. And he turned me on to a book. I can't remember the name of the book, but I know the strategy is the Blue Ocean Business Strategy. And basically what it is that if you want to be successful, don't go where everyone else is, go where there's nobody at. So in Odessa, what I looked at, okay, the people that focus on family law, they're getting older, so they're either going to retire or pass away. And two, there was nobody really from my generation at that time that was focused just on family law. But then that's just a really broad spectrum there, family law. So then it's like, okay, how can I focus even more? So then I thought, well, I'm a dad. I want to be a dad. And at the time I didn't have any kids, but I wanted to be a dad. And frankly, I grew up without my dad. And I wanted to help other dads that wanted to be involved with their kids' lives. So, there's one aspect of it. And then the second aspect of it is that whenever I had kids, I wanted to help those dads raise kids that, if I had a daughter, which I do, would be good partners for my daughter and friends as she grew up. Or if I had a son, would be good wives or friends for my son as he was growing up. So there's a personal aspect, and then there's a professional aspect. So that's really how I came about really hyper-focused on that market.
I love that, Anthony. Integrating your personal core values into your corporate brand can be super critical. Yeah. There was something you told me in our previous conversation about, narrowing your focus and how that really expanded your reach in a way. So you found that by narrowing your target audience in this way, your business has actually grown, attracting both men and women to your firm. So, can you explain a little bit of how focusing on this niche market has led to a broader client base at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this is just something that if I had done some research, I would have learned it, but I'm stubborn, so I had to learn it the hard way. Um, yes, our marketing is focused towards men dealing with family law situations, but in the end, it doesn't matter. The decision maker ends up being a lady, whether it's their mom, whether it's their sister, whether it's their wife or their girlfriend. Generally, in the Permian Basin, a large portion of the men that live there work in the oil field. So they're working odd hours. They're out in the oil field where they get not very good service. And so they can't text or email or really
Sure.
call. So what's happening is that our ads are up, and it's their mom, their sister, a very influential female in their life seeing it. So as they're referring their brothers and husbands and friends to us, when they're going through those situations, they're seeing how we're helping those people. And in essence, what's happening is ladies are hiring us at basically the same rate that they were hiring us before we started that marketing campaign 12 to 13 years ago. And what we're hearing is, one, you did a good job for my brother, my dad. Or two, what we're hearing is, you represented my friend's husband and you did a good job for him. And she talks about how good you did. So I don't want my husband to hire you, so I'm going to hire you. So by narrowing that focus, it's actually let us speak to one focus segment of the market. And by focusing on that one segment of the market, what we've created is we've created people outside of our target market that are really becoming big cheerleaders for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, uh, well, I have actually, that's a super interesting point because I have insight in the B2B industry. One of the things that happens commonly is, and I realize this is different than the B2C approach, but that you operate within. But one thing that happens commonly is, hey, I'm going to hire you so my competition can't hire you.
Yeah.
And that seems like part of what's caused that demand there. So I want to talk about the cultural connection. There's
Yeah.
You're in an area where there's a heavy Hispanic demographic. So 4 words, right? Fuerte como el
Fuerte
roble.
como roble. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Hopefully I
Okay.
hit it. I hit it on the head there. But tell me about the origin of that and what that means to your brand, Anthony.
We actually kind of backed into that. Here within the past couple of years, um, I've made my marketing even more hyper focused to where yes, we're keeping the West Texas men's attorney, but now we're really even focusing within a segment of that market on Hispanics, Spanish speaking people. And as far as, my logo, it's an oak tree and then it's got Robles Family Law Firm under it. And that came about because I have a brother who's a year younger than me. His name's Eric, my best friend. And we were
Mm-hmm.
sitting around, he was starting his own business. I had just bought a building that I was going to put the office in, have my own standalone alone place. And I wanted to make something personal that meant something to me and that would mean something to my family. And so when I was researching my name, I found out that Robles, it is actually comes from Spain and it means an oak tree, so then all these coat of arms came up, and in the coat of arms from old Spain for Robles, it would be an oak tree, different types, but they all had one thing in common, the oak tree. So I made that the logo. It's very prominent on the face of my building. It's prominent in my logo. You walk into the office, the first thing you see behind the reception desk is this oak tree. So that was really how it started there. But as we've really started focusing our marketing on the Hispanic, the Spanish speaking community, what we've seen is that the people that come in to help that seek our help from that community, they'll notice the oak tree and then they'll talk with my receptionist about it. And the phrase that kept coming up is fuerte como el roble. So my receptionist, Rosita, she talked to me about it, and she's very immersed in Mexican culture. Her family's from there. And so I asked her, I said, Rosita, is that a common saying in Mexico? And she said, yes. She said, a lot of the older people that come in, they see that and they say, roble, fuerte como roble. So it's that saying is just something we've kind of backed into. And it was really just a happy accident of me just wanting to put something that meant something to me personally, for family, and things
See,
like that.
I love this, Anthony, because see, this is what this is about: is personal. People want to do business with
Hmm.
people that they like personally, people that they relate with personally, people
Yeah.
that they might culturally relate to. And
Mhm.
this is especially important in the Hispanic community. You see, I live in a community where there's a heavy Hispanic
Yeah.
population as well. And I know there's a
Victoria, right?
comfortability factor. Yeah, in Victoria,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, that's a big part of our whole heritage here.
Yeah.
And there's a major comfortability factor when you can identify a personal relation in the brand itself before you ever actually talk
Yeah.
to that industry expert in a service-based business like a
Yeah.
law firm. So I love that you really have strategically thought through that. But I want to get back to some of the kind of traditional marketing strategies because I know you're killing it over there. I love hearing about you. I've enjoyed talking with you. You've really been utilizing a mix of community events,
Mhm.
SEO, TV ads to grow your firm in a very small time frame. I think it's been about a decade, and
Yeah.
relatively speaking, that's a short time frame. So, what strategies have been the most effective for you, Anthony, and what advice would you give other attorneys looking to expand their reach?
So I'm going to start off with the second part again, expanding your reach, narrow your focus. I think everything comes down to lessen the amount of people you're talking to and really talk to them. Once they know you're saying what they want to hear, they'll be a cheerleader for you as long as you're delivering good quality products or services.
Mm-hmm.
You can brand all you want, but if you're not delivering, if you're doing bad work, no type of marketing is going to overcome that. So it's really a combination of a good deliverable, good service, and good marketing. Now, as far as the mix of events, as far as SEO goes, we're just really on infancy on there. I'll dabble around with social media, but I wouldn't say there's really anything substantial there. Um, that's really the next part of where we want to go, and really the next part that my wife wants to focus on as well. She's 8 years younger than me, so she's kind of more immersed with, hey, we need to do this. This is where people are coming from. This is how we can reach people. So that's the next part. Yes, we do. We work with a company that helps us with SEO. I look at the numbers as far as how many searches we get, how many calls we get through our Google site, our website. But to be honest with you, I don't really understand it very well. But I do know it works. I see that whenever people come in, they're telling us that they're coming. That's how they're finding us. Um, what I can tell is the most effective for us, at least right now. One is the commercial. Like I said, people quote it back to us. Um, and two are community events. I have my building. It's right there in downtown Odessa. The city's working to rejuvenate downtown Odessa. So anytime there's a community event, we'll put up one of those big tents. It's got our logo on there. For Christmas, we'll give out
Definitely.
Mexican sweetbread and some abuelitas hot chocolate. Again, hyper focused with the Hispanic community. During Halloween, we'll give out candy as well too. They have so many people that go through downtown, and another way we reach out through the community is at my house. I didn't realize when I bought the house, but it is the part of town where everybody flocks to for Halloween.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah.
so what we give out, and I was incorrect in Halloween when I said we give out candy. What we do is we give out ramen noodles. You know,
My family does the same thing.
we give out
The
ramen noodles.
teenagers love it.
Yes, we give out ramen noodles, and that was another happy accident. And so what happened is the first year that I lived in this community that I'm in now, I didn't realize how many people came, so I didn't have enough candy. So I ran to the store and was like, okay, there's no candy here. That makes sense. So I went to the next aisle and it was full of ramen noodles. So I just bought all the ramen noodles and everybody loved it. So now anytime there's a giveaway downtown or Halloween, um, we've my daughter helps me with this. We'll have a closet full of ramen, and she's come into the office for a couple of weeks, just sticking our stickers on them so that we can give them away. and
That is so funny.
and
My My
And
wife is going to love this, Anthony. We do the same thing.
that's another marketing thing. They come by the house and like, oh, this is the ramen house. They come by the office. Oh yes, I've been eating all this candy. I'm gonna want something salty later. This is the ramen place, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah, that I love that. That's all great information. One of the things that I think is most important, and this has been a pivotal piece for you, is you can buy all the advertising space in the world, all the TV commercials, social media ads, radio ads, billboard space,
Mhm.
so on and so forth. It does not matter as much as the message. The
Correct.
message is more critical than anything. And if you do not have the right message, starting with the right target audience that you're trying to speak to, all of the advertising space in the world you could buy is worthless. And
Yeah.
so for me, when I look at marketing lawyers, marketing service based experts, what's more critical than what we should do in terms of tactical execution and tactical deployments is what are we saying? And that a lot of times will dictate where we should then disseminate the message,
Yes.
essentially. And that's really been a critical piece of your success. And
Mhm.
I respect that you really took a look at that, not coming from a marketing background. Someone like me knows that's the first thing to look at, and you understand as well, hey, in a service based industry where you're the industry expert, you have to first become a master of your craft, and then your marketing comes from that.
Yeah.
It's an extension from that, because after identifying you're a master of your craft, you're going to know what are my strengths, my weaknesses, my opportunities, my threats when you do a SWOT analysis on your business. And that's going to shape your whole marketing strategy. So I love that. One of the things about you that's just admirable, Anthony, is you started with just an office, a desk, and a phone. I
Yeah.
did the same thing. I started this business in a coffee shop. We fast forward today, we're over 2 dozen employees, 6,500 square foot office in downtown. It's a blessing to have that growth. And I respect someone that kind of went through the same path. So now, 17 years later, you built a thriving firm. What were the biggest lessons you learned along the way, Anthony, that you would share with other entrepreneurs looking to build a sustainable brand as well?
Number one, be yourself. I market to the Hispanic community, but I don't speak perfect Spanish. My clients that are Spanish speaking, I tell them that up front, and they respect when I tell them that. And then the cool thing that happens, and again, this just happened organically, is that when I come across a phrase that I don't necessarily know how to say, or that a word that I don't know, I'll ask them, and they're more than happy to help me because they see that I'm trying to talk to them in their language. They see that I'm being honest with them. I'm not putting myself out there as this great linguist of the Spanish language, but I speak it well enough to be able to communicate everything with my client. So one, be yourself. Um, Two, um, don't be afraid to don't be afraid to take a chance. And I think that's just good life advice. You're gonna fail, and that's okay. Um, you just gotta start over again. And then number three would be Callie. I had three of them. Be yourself. Don't be afraid to fail. Relationships. The relationships are always going to be the most important part of your business. Whether it's for me, whether it's relationships with other attorneys. Like right now, I'm on vacation with my brother, my sister-in-law, and my wife. Well, to make that happen, I had to have good relationships with the other attorneys to tell them, hey, I can't schedule things on these days with the judges too, so that I could
Yeah.
come and do these types of things. The relationships matter with clients. You've got to be honest with them. You've got to be able to tell them the hard truths. And relationships matter with your employees because if you've got a good relationship with them, if they know that they can trust you, if they know that you're going to have their back when a client's coming in and frankly being a jerk to them, then they'll walk through fire for you.
Hmm.
So take risk, keep the relationships good, and be yourself. Those would be the three things I would say.
Anthony, I love that. The key to business, mutually beneficial relationships. I do a lot of different workshops, speaking opportunities with uh, the college I went to, different organizations in the region, and I always stress that the importance of relationships, and that's what connects the personal brand
Mm-hmm.
to the corporate brand. And so I really love that. I one thing I would say about that to add to that is, I talk about this extensively when I look at the success formula of the most successful people I know, the key thing that they embraced is embracing the fact that our personal success is dependent on other people and not entirely within our control.
Yep.
It's not just us. It involves other people that are in our lives, whether professionally or personally, you know, uh, your spouse taking care of things on the opposite side of life, at home, so you can focus on the business. It happens professionally with a manager or a key partner that can step in while you step away for a minute to get a mental rest. Things like that. Our success is depending on other people, and when we embrace that, that's where I see people take the next step with their corporate
Yep.
brand, because they realize, hey, I can't control everything, and I can't, get in every minute detail. I have to start to embrace someone else stepping up and being a part of that growth. Anthony, this has been an absolute pleasure today. You have an incredible brand. You've done incredible things up there in West Texas. I just want to thank you for being on the show. If you enjoyed this show today, like, comment, share the Building Brands podcast. Anthony, any final words before we conclude today?
I do. I want to say thank you to my wife. She's really stepped up the past year. She is taking care of everything's on the other side, but she's also stepped up and become our office manager, and she's just killing it there. And then, the last thing I want to say is that you were talking about, a desk, an office, and a phone. And the funny thing there is, I mentioned my brother, him and I, we look alike, we sound alike. So, when I was in those moments, I was like, I got to answer the phone, but I don't really want to. Good morning, Robles Family Law Firm. My name's Anthony. This is Eric. How can I help you? Oh, is Anthony there? No, I'm his brother, but I'll let him know you have the message. So I always tell my brother he was my first employee, even though he never stepped foot in there. So yeah, he's helped me get here as well, even though he didn't know it.
That's incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
family will help a lot, and that will really, really be a kind of a under, I guess, a low visible
Hmm.
um, lifeline there that really contributes a lot to the success of a corporate brand. Well, Anthony, thank you again. Appreciate you being here today, and look forward to continuing the conversation and talking again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.